to attract, how they could kind of brand themselves and attract more international students. So a lot of it was about location marketing and content marketing. So like if I was working with a business school in Nantes, France, like how would they talk about Nantes differently than they would about Paris? Or how would a university in Brazil talk about coming to Brazil as a country versus another place? So the intersection of place and marketing and storytelling and having to be human across digital means, that has been part of my world for, since my first job essentially in 1997. So this is, trying to really distill some of the things that I think are going to be most useful here was an interesting process for me, because a lot of the things, after doing it for so long, I just do kind of innately without really, let's just start off by saying I don't have an internet strategy. I don't have an internet plan. I don't have a calendar. I don't have people to help me with it. Like, this has happened really organically, but with the context of having done it for other clients for 20 years. So there's like a lot of sort of, like if you cook for a long time, you can kind of whip something up and you're not thinking about it. You're not following a recipe. So I'm at that point where I can kind of just not think about it and just do what I like and have it make some sense for my business. I think that, I guess the other thing that I wanted to talk about is really why Instagram, just to kick it off. And we're gonna have time to you guys can put questions there. I can look at the questions, and we're also gonna have 2 more classes. So that's the other thing, is I got a little greedy. I was like, I can't possibly do this in 1 hour. So, let's do another couple sessions. And someday we may do 2-day workshops if we can all be in person, because I love this topic. This has been such a great thing for me. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that when I first started doing Instagram a couple of years ago up here, I literally had people say, like, you'll never get any real leads from it. Okay, maybe buyers, but you're never going to get sellers. Okay, and it just like literally at every stage of it, it was, let me just write this real quick. Password for class is onward. Oh, some people are texting me and saying they're waiting to get into the class.
I disabled the password and there's just a waiting room. Everybody that was waiting is in.
Okay, so whoever's texting me is just wrong. Or whatever. Click on link in Curran. Okay. Shutting down Slack. So yeah, so I mean, my business does come from Instagram. It really does. Like and when I say that, what I mean is that I have developed relationships through Instagram that are varying degrees of, like, some people may follow me and know my dog's name, to like actual friends, real friends who've come out of just this world of sharing stuff online. And for real estate and for most businesses, if you're here, like, you are, your business is growing your network of people who can then refer you and buy things from you and whatever your specific business goals are. And I will say that it is very helpful, if I wasn't doing this so like haphazardly, like what I would say to myself is, like, you should really define what your goals are with Instagram before trying to move too much forward with it. So is the goal to get your name out there? Is the goal to stay in touch with your current clients? Is the goal to generate buyer leads? Is the goal to generate seller leads? Is the goal, whatever it is, the more clear you can be about it, the better chance that your content is going to just really organically develop in that direction, and that you actually can be more strategic about it. So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, we're at 18.7 thousand followers now. So hopefully be 20,000 followers soon. Those are real people. Like, I don't buy followers. That's one thing I should probably state for the record, because there are people with huge accounts that they just pay, and you can look at the followers and you'll see like Baba Ganoush 64859, and it's like these like weird fake names with numbers. So if somebody has that and they don't have a lot of engagement on their Instagram feed, like versus like the number of followers they have, that usually indicates that they're paying for followers. So topic number 1 was why Instagram? Why why did I focus on that? And, you know, it wasn't, again, it wasn't like super intentional. I just was sort of like, you know, maybe 3 years ago, I was like, the kids today are all using Instagram. And I was still doing my other marketing business where I was trying to talk to people who were college age. And I was like, I got to figure this out. And so I just started posting about our life, like having moved from Brooklyn upstate. And one thing I want to state from the beginning is that it took me literally, and I've said this a bunch of times to a bunch of people, that it took me a good 6 months to feel fluent at Instagram. And I had used Facebook forever, and I've been working on websites since the late 90s. So it took a while till I really, like, I had to post consistently every day till I felt like that level of fluency where I didn't feel like totally awkward and stupid posting or commenting on something or sending someone a message. Like it you know, and Twitter to me is still like that. I look at Twitter and I'm like, I can't understand what's happening. I don't understand how people are talking. So I think that's one thing just to know also, is that it just takes a minute to like really, or maybe better, it doesn't take a minute. It takes a while to just like consistently post and feel like you really have got the medium down. And then it becomes really fun. Just like learning a language, it's super annoying and you're learning the grammar, you're learning the mechanical pieces of it. And then all of a sudden you're speaking and you're like, wow, I can't believe I can speak this new language and communicate with people. Instagram for real estate, forget it. I mean, it's visuals. It allows you to tag things in certain ways. It allows you to communicate with other people. It is, I mean, I cannot imagine a better platform for real estate than Instagram. The way that you can share things, like in Facebook, if you share it, it's going to be shared to your friends. In Instagram, you can tag other people. They can share it publicly. They can, everything is being seen by everyone who's following a specific topic area, and they're going to be suggested to look at you, and their friends are going to come on a post about your house and they'll tag their friends. And then all of a sudden you'll have this big momentum going. So it's both in the way that it's a visual medium with not too much words, and in the way that things can be shared. I think Instagram is perfect. And you can also target ads just like you can on Facebook. It's the same company. So you can promote homes based on things like, you know, there are special housing categories. So, you know, you're not discriminating against ages or other things, but you can say this house is going to be really cool for people who are in this zip code, or who maybe not the zip code, who are in this area, who like hiking, who love this other thing, who watch HGTV. So it's you have the targeted ads, you have the visual medium, and you have great ways to share. To me, Instagram is pretty awesome. The next, you know, the other thing that I just wanted to mention is like, there's a difference between leads versus likes or follows, right? So like when I talked about what are 5 ways to generate leads, I didn't say what are 5 ways to get likes or follows on Instagram, because those are different things. Like, to me, the business goal, ultimately, it would be how many sales did you generate? Right? Like that would be like, that's really the goal. So technically it should be like closings from, 5 ways to generate closings from Instagram. But, leads is one of the first things in real estate that we really measure, and that you can say this lead came from here. And then you can track all those rest of the things to see if the amount of time and money you put in this is as valuable as any of your other activities. So the difference, I think, with leads versus likes or follows is that a lead is obviously a step further. It's somebody who's like, we count it as someone whose email address we have, so that we can like communicate with them. So to get from Instagram to like a direct message to an email address, something had to have happened. They had to have written us or called us or said something that I want to buy, I want to sell, I'm thinking about it, can we talk to you? And then they kind of come into our world in a different way. But one of the other beauties of Instagram is that the likes and follows are a great way to have a big, robust, essentially think of it like a big database of people you're talking to multiple times a day, who may be, they may be interested 5 years from now in buying a house, but they may have a friend who wants to, or they may decide to work on your team. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't cost you more to get those likes and follows. But to me, the real if you're talking about it from a business perspective, knowing that you're going to get leads and how you can convert those likes and follows to actual leads is part of the process of making this work for your business. We're going to talk about specific ways to do that, but I think that one of the things that's important to say that I didn't have written down in my notes here to talk about, but one thing that we notice is when people come to us as leads from Instagram, they are, they're way further. It's like a completely different conversation than when they come from Zillow, you know, or from somewhere else where like, we don't pay to advertise other places, but like if I have a listing and somebody calls us, if they've been following Instagram and they kind of like know me and I've tagged Monica posts something or does an internet takeover and, you know, ours is a team one, then they already have gotten, you know, they talk about the stages of selling as like, trust, buy. So they already are at the point where they like and trust us, hopefully, you know, that hopefully that's one of the things that we've been able to communicate on Instagram. So by the time they call us, they want to work with us. There's not like a conversation that is about like why you should work with our team. So that's the other point here, is that the leads that you get from Instagram, in my opinion, if you're doing it this way, are way, like they're way further along in the process. So it's not like you're talking to 50 people and 2 of them are going to work with you. It's like we're talking to 50 people and we're figuring out when they want to do something, not if, you know, and when they want to work with us, not if. And that's, you know, that's unusual. I've come to realize how unusual that is. So the other thing I want to say before we jump into our 5 things is that this, like all digital marketing, one of the beautiful things about digital stuff is that you get to just like play around with it and observe what happens, you know. And like with everything, one of the big things about that Keller Williams like drills into your head is, you know, is really measuring the results and, you know, and seeing what happens. And so that you're not just like throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, or maybe you are. I mean, actually that is kind of what we're saying. Throw it at a wall and then measure if it sticks, measure how well it sticks, measure if it works as well as that other thing you threw at a wall. I think that hopefully makes some sense. And that is a huge thing that I've found always with digital things, is that like, it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You just kind of are constantly like looking like, did people react to that this time of day, this time of blah, blah, blah. And if I were better and more strategic at this, or put it a different way, if I needed to be better and more strategic at this, if I needed to, what I would do is I would measure things like what happens at different times of day, what happens with different times of content, what happens. And the only reason I don't need to be better at it is because we have more leads than we can currently handle. And that just means that what I need is to practice building my team so we can handle an unlimited number of leads. Because ultimately, what I love about this business is that like, I love doing the business of real estate. I love it. I love building a team in it. I love being able to help people in a way that I think is ethical and awesome and fun and like smart, and building a team of people who all believe in that process and really want to support our clients. So in a perfect world, I would have millions of clients and millions of people trained in great processes. So, I've been able to be a little bit lazy with my own Instagram practices just because it really took off the way that it did. So if we go to the 5 things, and I'm not using any PowerPoint, my train the trainer things, it was always like, don't use PowerPoints, but you know, whatever. Corinne, if you want to like, Corinne is typing things there, so you can see her notes and everybody can get a copy of this. Nothing should be, you know, so hard to understand that you can't write it down in a note. But so the first way to get leads from Instagram is to choose a name that indicates your business, right? That's it. Like when I was Megan Brenn-White versus upstate_real estate, if I posted somewhere, if I did anything, there was no way for people to just quickly understand that I was a real estate agent or that I did something with real estate. Now, everybody on earth has like, you know, upstate real estate, upstate Catskill real estate, Catskill or upstate or real, you know, it's like some variation of that, but that's that's in a way that's fine. I mean, that becomes a problem for brand differentiation, and that's like kind of a different topic. But if we're just talking about, how you can get leads on Instagram, your name becomes important when we're about to talk about the other things you're going to do. So that's where I would say doing a little bit of thinking about that is useful. And you can change your name anytime. You don't lose your followers or something. You can just change it all day long. So if I look at I'm just scrolling through some of this stuff. So Patty Co Real Estate, that's pretty obvious. Lacey Upstate Real Estate. We did that for our team so that people would know that this is someone with the team. Sunflower Real Estate, Gentertaining. Jen is not necessarily in real estate yet. Katarina sells Hudson Valley. Love that one. KW Dream Home Team. These are all things that are, okay, so KW Dream Home Team, that's an interesting one. If somebody who's not in real estate saw that, they might not know what the KW meant, right? That would be Keller Williams. I know that because I'm at Keller Williams, but even before I was at Keller, I wouldn't necessarily know. Renee Condon Group, that may or may not be real estate, that may just be something else. Hudson Valley House could be an Airbnb, could be a real estate company. So this is you want to just kind of test it. Could somebody are you going to connect with the people that you want to connect with based on that name? That's it. And if anybody wants to and I'm not criticizing names, you know what I mean? Catskill Homes is that's a great one. K-Beth Realtor, Margaret Thorne Realtor. These things don't have to be, they don't have to be fancy. They kind of just have to be obvious. And I'll tell you why. So we're going to move on to that. Does anybody have any questions first about anything that I've said or about naming before we move on? And you can unmute yourself also if you want to talk. I'm just going to have a sip of delicious water. No questions? You can test your names here. Okay, forget it. All right, we're moving on then. Moving on. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. One moment, please. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty here. Okay. So 5 ways to generate leads on Instagram. So one of the things we're going to talk about is, so I'm going to assume very little knowledge here. And if people are more advanced, bear with me. We're going to be saying there's going to be advanced tidbits in here throughout. So this is the feed. So when I look here, this is the feed, these big ones. And then this, here. So this is my feed. These are my stories if I click on my face. So one way to generate leads is to post something in a feed, right? So
Megan, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Just have a question from Christine. She's wondering if there's an advantage to having an underscore in your handle.
Oh, no. I would rather not. I mean, the only advantage is that it can be hard to read otherwise. Mm-hmm. So there's that's literally it. So, and it's better, in a way it's better to have shorter ones because when you tag somebody's name, when I tag Lacey _upstate real estate, it's super long and I have to make the text kind of small on stories. Mm-hmm. So I would rather have a shorter one if I could, but yeah, it was just a legibility.
Larissa is asking, what if you feel that your name, like your first and last name if you're a real estate agent, is the most recognized part of your business?
Well, then I would think about, so this is where it gets to be the goal. So if your goal is connecting with your current clients and people who know you and your community, then using your name might work. What I would say is that otherwise, I would just use your first name. I mean, I would still probably use your first name, last name, and then real estate or something, just so that if you're posting somewhere else, which we'll get to, people will know immediately that you're a realtor. Mm-hmm. I have I think that for most people, branding your own name makes the most sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Whoa, wait. Okay, so the feed. So what we can do in the feed, and I was trying to I was gonna see if I could show this to you guys, but so there's a number of different things you can post in the feed. You can post a little slideshow like this. You can post, this was a preview from an Instagram, an IGTV thing. This is another slideshow. This is just this thing. But what happens is that what helps to know is that not everybody sees what you post in your feed, right? Like not even all your followers see it. There are different algorithms that kind of govern who sees what. So posting relatively frequently to your feed and to your stories, which we'll explain in a second, definitely helps. And, you know, I would say at least like 3 or 4 times a week posting something here. So we basically don't do that because when we post something, we get so many people writing us that we have to kind of limit it, which sounds kind of bizarre, but true. So, but in a perfect world, if I were trying to grow it, I would post more here. The thing that's nice about posting in the feed is that somebody can, so you can see here people, the conversations that are happening. So one of the things on the feed is like, here's somebody saying, we live on Sheldon Hill, right down the street, walk by the house all the time. It's a great addition to the neighborhood. So I wrote there, it's a really pretty quiet road, right? I love it, because that was one of the concerns people had. Yes, we love it. Friendly neighbors and a quaint little stream running alongside. Our dog loves it too. I mean, this is like, sounds like I paid this person to write that, but I swear it was just a neighbor. But that's already one thing that you can note that I do in my feed is I interact with people there. And that helps improve the algorithm. That improves how many people who are going to see what you posted there. And also, this is great. So now this person and I have had like a nice little interaction, and it's a genuine thing. You know, so gorgeous, bummed I didn't see this till after the open house, blah, blah, blah. It looks like there are 3 bedrooms, there are already 4. Open house is tomorrow. We're going to send you the link. So love it. I wish it had a fireplace. It's so easy to add a wood stove. I'll ask this person tomorrow on the virtual open house. So I'm actually like talking to people here. But where I'm not talking to people, there's just people saying like beautiful, 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 whatever, whatever. And then that's actually not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you is people, this stuff. Okay, so see where it has like the person has a name and just like eyeballs or whatever? And this is like, or this, like the Meg Krebs Kiddo Cunningham, this is the agent I was mentioning to y'all. When somebody tags somebody else, that means they're saying, hey, look at this. This is one of the beautiful things about Instagram. So I can usually tell how much interest a house is getting based on the number of people who are tagging other people there. So when I see this and they're not talking to me, they're literally just like poking their friend or their partner and saying, check this out. So yeah, but look at this. Maybe not this one, but you should follow. So here in just one thing that I opened for you guys randomly, there were 2 people recommending my feed. Recommending my Instagram page. So that's a thing. And when you get peer-to-peer recommendations, nothing is better than that. So if our friend tells another friend, you should follow this real estate agent, there's a level of trust already built up, even if all they're saying is this looks fun. So you can add hashtags. I usually don't, but just because again, like I'm a little bit like lazy. I did with this one. You can add them in one of the comments. So it's not like part of the write-up, so it looks a little bit less thirsty. You can tag other people so that they can share it. If you tag other people, they'll notice it. So there's a bunch of things you can do with your feed to kind of like draw people in. And the one thing that I would say, before we move to point 3 is just that one of the things that I think a lot of people have seen is true for social media in general is that there is a move to authenticity. So having like perfectly like coiffed, like realtor standing in front of a house like this is like less, you can't really connect to that. And one thing I tell my team is that it is harder in a lot of ways to let yourself be a little messy publicly. It really is. Like, it makes me like, I want to have everything be edited. I want to have it go through a second person. I want to have all this stuff happen. But I know that my actual results depend on me being authentic. And authenticity, things that indicate authenticity are sometimes mistakes, weirdly swearing. which I do very naturally and try, have to dial it back here. But so there are actual things that people have studied that like where you can help indicate authenticity. But if you look at our Instagram, like this is like a really weird picture, and I was just like, thinks this photo looks a little weird. That's because it was taken with magic. We got a full virtual tour of 91 Corbett in Montgomery. You can click all around the house. So I'm putting up things that don't look like, the whole feed doesn't look all perfect and kind of curated. And actually, Corinne, while I'm sharing my screen, I can't really see the questions so much. So if you do want to jump in as like.
Of course. Yeah, I was gonna wait till you had a break. We have just a few.
Yeah, let's take some feed questions now.
Okay, so we had a question from Kelsey. She was wondering how much time a day you typically spend responding to DMs and messages.
Not much, like maybe 15 minutes, I would say 20 minutes. I mean, it happens like kind of naturally. Like I'm not saying this is a best practice, but I just like, will be like flipping through and I'll see that people have written things, and then I'll go back and reply to them. What I am doing more of is having my team also reply to those. So for us, the way we work it is like, for this house, I'm the listing agent. Monica would be the designated person that people would speak with. Lacey's our inside sales agent, so she's the first person that leads often reach out to. So Monica also can be answering questions there too, which is a way to like establish a relationship with other people about that house.
And then Lee wants to know, do you find you get more interaction on nicer homes, and how do you build engagement on the middle of the road homes?
Interesting. I think that there are homes that are Instagram friendly. I think that's real. And I think that there are ones that are less so. So, like this adorable, like, and one thing that we do in our feed is we don't have to show, like with a lot of the MLS, you have to show the front door. We don't have to with the Instagram feed. I can put any picture I want up here, right? This house happened to be pretty great with a mountain behind it. But like, if you look at this house, I was able to choose like kind of the sexiest photo that there was. So there's a couple of things that you can do. Like, I mean, not that, I wouldn't say this one is a middle of the road home, but this house is like a little bit more like, it's not going to be in like dwell anytime soon. And this one, I mean, still, so let me start by saying we get great photographers. So we have somebody taking really like editorial style photographs. So even the home that is kind of like more standard looks good, and that there are specific angles that you kind of get. Right now we've moved, like everybody, I got a Matterport camera and those look kind of stretched out. They do the 3D tours. But we're really working, the images become incredibly important. Let me just put it that way. And you can pay to promote them, and maybe we should have one class just actually on like how you pay to promote specific things. And it's all of digital marketing is just a matter of getting your house in front of the right people. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you think that the right people for your house are not going to be on Instagram, then that requires a little bit of a different strategy. Okay.
Kelsey is asking, do you find different types of clients respond to different styles? Like, I think that's just what you had said, right? Getting the photo in front of the right people, like luxury clients preferring a more polished appearance.
Yeah, we have seen that our clients are almost always people, or 99% people from New York City looking for weekend homes or looking to move up here full time. There's like a little bundle of styles that they really love. A-frames and old farmhouses, but like this house, where'd it go? No, this one here. This one, is a house that needed needed a fair amount of work. But again, like we took really good photographs, I think. Like this is a dropped ceiling with, that isn't so cute, but the house has a ton of potential and it was priced right for somebody to be able to like kind of take advantage of that. So
we're getting a lot of questions. Do you want to move through 4 and 5 and then we can have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A?
Sure. So the other way, posting in the feed is one way to get leads. The other way is stories. So this is the story. So these these stay for 24 hours only. So I want you guys to look at your own feed while we're doing this. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I want you to have your phone. Like, look at your feed and be like, look at your name, be like, what would somebody think of this? Look at the feed and be like, what would somebody think of this? Because the last thing I'll say about a feed is that it also becomes kind of a website. So somebody can quickly look at this and get a sense of who you are as a person and as an agent. That also is important. So it becomes like a way to represent you. So I hope that makes some sense. So it took me a while to be like, what is the point of posting something in a story when it's going to be gone in 24 hours? And what the point is that if you guys look at your phones, you'll see at the very top, there are all these stories, and they get a ton more engagement. And when you go live on Instagram, it'll notify all your followers and then stays in your stories. So, and I find that it's like a very low kind of bar area for me to post. Like if I'm just like, oh, my dog looks cute, I'll post it and put it in the story, because it's not going to be like in the feed forever. You know, there, he looks cute there too. But and then the stories then can go into this stuff, which are the highlights for the stories. So I can put my listings here and have like a bunch of stuff, you know, that kind of talks about the current listings that we have, but also have something that hopefully gives an indication with the team, like, you know, gives people a sense of who we are. So the story is as important as the feed. So think of the feed as like, you need at least like 16 good photos that like represent yourself there. The stories is where like I find I really interact with people, and there's a ton of fun stuff to do. And again, like keep in mind that when I'm trying to get people from coming to my site to being a lead, there's a part of me that is even subconsciously going, how can they trust? How can they like and trust me? What can I do that they like and trust me? Like and trust. And then the other thing that I would say, and this gets back to the authenticity, is that to have a really strong brand, and branding is kind of a different topic, but to have a really strong brand and a really strong Instagram presence, I think you have to be willing to know that some people will not like you. Like it has to be strong enough that some people are like, this person seems like totally weird, don't want to hang out with them, would never want to buy a house with them, right? And that's why it's hard to like, it's really about like, how do you want to present yourself to the world? It's a very like existential question in a way. Like if you know, and when you do that well, and when you're really honest with yourself, like you get the clients that you want, you really attract them. So I actually hired an Instagram consultant at the very, very beginning. And she was like, don't put your face on it. Never post your dog, never post your cat. Like, what if somebody doesn't like your glasses? What if somebody doesn't like your dog? And I was like, shoot, I've been doing this for a while, and that seems like a weird reason not to work with a realtor, but maybe she's right. And then I was like, if someone doesn't like my glasses or my dog, like they're gonna screw them. I don't want to work with them anyways, you know, like that's stupid. Like somebody who literally doesn't like it gets you the people that, and the stories I think is where you can have some fun and have some flexibility and post little videos and do little things. So you're going to choose a name that works for your business. You're going to post in the feed. You're going to post in the stories. Now
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on, say you get an award from Keller Williams or an accolade of some sort. What's your opinion on, you know, posting that and letting your customers know how you're doing? Does it come off as braggy?
I think this is where writing makes a difference.
Right.
You know, I think that this is where like the way that you phrase it really makes a difference. And I've had some things that I've posted like that, like this one, where, you know, I said like, we launched 2 listings in the past 2 weekends, received multiple offers for both. And I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what's going on. You know, we do all this usual stuff. There are 2,700 unique properties. So I think that like, you know, we work hard to understand the pluses and minuses of each property. By the way, I don't believe you can't write very much on Instagram. Obviously mine are like almost like blog posts a lot of the time. So I think it's really just about that. I think if you posted an award and wrote #blessed, #grateful, I would be like, I don't
Yeah,
want to
ew.
work with this person.
Ew.
But somebody else might be into that too, you know? So I don't know. But if you posted an award and we're like, oh my God, in this time, like where we're all like stuck at home and can't do our business, it is so nice to like look back at this recognition I got for like what I actually do. You know, like if you post something like that, I think that it comes across very differently. And like trust, you know, like trust buy, the trust part is about like how many, you know, like are you good at your job? So the ways that you demonstrate that you're good at your job on Instagram is by sharing useful information, speaking, you know, showing sometimes those accolades, showing like this is an accepted offer, this is, you know, this is, we're putting this house on the market. Those are all things that there's like a baseline of confidence people to have with you in whatever your business is to want to work with you. So yeah. So the other thing that I think that I wanted to talk about, because this is, I think, so the feed and the stories, like you guys, if you've looked at your Instagram page, you know about that, right? And you also know about this too, but you would be surprised at how much business I've gotten by commenting and liking on other people's stuff. So, and this is where the name comes in, right? So if I look at my feed and I go to Abby Aronson is, you know, Mount Trumper, and I, you know, porching with fresh hot whole wheat boule, and I look at it and I'm like, that looks so good, and I just like type in that looks so good. I think, you know, my bread intake has gone up 4 million% in April. Okay, so what just happens there? So that's a genuine thought. This is someone who I've only met on Instagram, but she's a PR person. I know she knows a lot of people in the area. She's really well connected. So her friends are now going to see me, Upstate Real Estate, writing a comment there. So that establishes social trust. That's not the same exactly as a peer-to-peer recommendation. It's not like Abby saying Megan's an awesome agent, but by the very fact that I'm commenting on something that she wrote, people in her circle are going to see me. And I have had people come to me and say, oh, I saw you comment on my friend's post. Can we talk to you about buying a house? How do you know this person? I cannot begin to tell you how important this is. And if I just like it, so she's going to see it, and Abby's going to be reminded of me, and we haven't talked for a little while. So she's going to get that little boost. And this I do more often just because it's like natural. And I really like try and do it like, so here's another thing I can do. Like 400 puzzles arrived. We finally got our massive shipment in for Puzzle Co. So one of my friends is like obsessed with puzzles right now. So I can just like tag her there. So now what happens here is that they're going to see that I tag somebody else, and they're going to be happy about that because everybody loves sharing things. Or I could even do this. I could share it. Well, I can't here, but like if I shared it, I could share it to my stories also and say like, hey, check out these guys. Then Upstate Stock, who knows a lot of people, they will then like be aware of me. So they have 16,500 followers. So this is building community. Liking, resharing, posting, this is really building community. Like this is the part that people miss, I think, with Instagram. They think it's about like it's like kind of me talking to other people, you know, but even like, so like, here's somebody's story. So here's like the DeBruce. So sad you guys won't have takeout. Hope everyone is well. So that's me writing a reply to a story. So they're going to get that as a message, right? So this is just me. This is a local restaurant. So this is me communicating with other people. And I do this a ton. And this is the least visible part of, I think, what I do on Instagram. So, and then the last thing that I would say, because I see there's like a million things in the chat box now. So we get to all 5. So it's choose a name that makes some sense. Post in the feed, post in the stories, comment and like on other people's things. And like naturally, don't be like a creeper. Like I've had a lot of agents and I will just like block them, like come to my feed and be like, oh, I was just showing a home. I was just having coffee with some of my clients and showing them a home. And I'm like, dude, back off my feed. Like if you're commenting on my stuff, trying to like cull clients from me, that is not cool. You know, so I would like also just be mindful if you have a great real estate name, it's like not that kosher to like comment all over your friend who are realtors thing, because people, it looks like you're trying to get their clients. You can like everything, you can send them messages, which is my last point, direct messages. And this is like, this was the hardest one for me to understand, that like in Instagram, you can write a message to anybody basically. And they're like kind of psyched to like hear from you. Like, it's not like Facebook where they'd be like, why are you my like, you know, why are you being such a weird stranger here? Or why is a stranger writing me? Like, it's considered much, I don't know, much more normal. Like, so here's Barry Becker. This is how I met Barry, I think. I think I even like wrote him a, now he's an agent in our office, but oh, don't look. What if we wrote something secret there? But if I were to write him and be like, oh my God, your avocado toast looks so great, and wrote a message, I have literally made friends this way who then became clients. So that's the thing that like, so direct message is your fifth way. It's like literally writing people. So we're taught with you know, with Keller Williams right now, we're supposed to be doing 4 hours of lead generation a day, 2 hours on the phone, 2 hours in text and email. I'm going to throw out there for you to write to people here and you can direct message your clients. Like here's somebody who's writing, you know, a farm in Accord with a like little Calder's gnome. So cute. Like that wouldn't be hard for me to send them a direct message. So it has to be natural, but in order for it to feel natural, you have to, I think, talk, you know, just get used to how it, just get used to it and do it for a bit. So, all right, so those are my 5 exciting things. And the last thing I would say that I want to say before I answer questions, the only other thing that I wanted to make sure to have said is that posting regularly trumps like perfect posting, like by a million. So just post whatever you want to post. Like I'm sure if I looked at my beginning posts, they were super weird. And then eventually they just like fall to the end. You know, even the stuff in your feed can be like embarrassing and then it goes away. So it's better to post than not to post, like than to wait for it to be like perfect. Okay. Oh, I'm getting like not safe for work ones here. I guess I could I'm gonna stop my sharing now so I can see the. Okay.
So we were
up. Okay. Hashtag generation sites. I don't really use them. So I don't know. There's an app called Tailwind that's supposed to be good. Oh my God, my dog snuck up here. Stuart. Hello, Stuart. Yeah, so I don't really use them, but Tailwind is one to look at. Have I run any Instagram story campaigns in Command? No, I have not. I'm sure it would be good. Somebody starting out new without any clients or homes yet to feature, then you just feature your own stuff. Take walks around the neighborhood, go to restaurants, feature what you're doing. Right now, just feature like, you could take a picture of like, be like, oh my God, I'm reading this book like all day long. I had this great thought about it. Like it's literally just like, you just are kind of posting things that you think might be interesting to other people, like an anecdote that you might tell a friend. Yeah, Delise saying post and keep posting. How did I obtain so many followers without paying for them? So I did pay for them in a way. I promoted posts. So when I have listings, I pay to promote the post so that it does go out to people who are beyond my followers. I just didn't pay for like, you know, random fake people to join. There also, it becomes like a, you know, it becomes a snowball. So it took me like forever to get to the first 1,000 followers and then a lot less time to get to more. And when I got to like 3,000 followers, I think there was an article because of that. I was quoted in an article in the New York Times and that led to a bunch more. And then, you know, it keeps kind of building on itself. Did I collaborate with other businesses or run any contests to gain followers? I have not. I did do that with my Airbnbs. So with my Airbnbs, which we have 2, Cabin 8, number 8, Kerhonkson, and Cabin 14, Creekside. With both of those, I hired influencers who came and took pictures and they posted stuff on their end, and that was helpful. I mean, again, like there are so many ideas, I have so many marketing ideas that we want to do that we just can't do because we're trying to keep up with the current leads, but we're building out our team, we're building out our systems and processes so that we can handle unlimited leads, hopefully. La, 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 la. Oh, the amount of engagement for videos versus images. It's different. I think people love videos, right? So I think that like we're trying to post more and more videos, and videos on Instagram have been like a messy thing. Like, so it was sort of like there was IGTV, which is a separate app. And then there was Instagram Live, and that would be a video and that would stay in your stories only for 24 hours. I heard that since yesterday, your Instagram Live stories can also live in your feed, but I haven't tested that yet. So it's been, in terms of engagement, it's difficult because the Instagram IGTV ones, we don't get like as many comments on the videos, but we'll have like 5,000 people watching one. So it's, in terms of visual engagement, it's a lot. We tend to use it to back up other things that we're doing also right now, so that we can like send it to people and be like, hey, check out this video that the owner just did or whatever. Oh, can you share other agents' listings to help them sell if you get permission? Yes, so that was another thing that when I was starting, the rule with NYSAR was that you could share anything as long as you credited the brokerage, and that changed in maybe 2 years ago. So when I was first starting, what I was doing was I would find great listings and then I would like post them, and then I would put like listing provided by blah, 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 just like we do for IDX websites. And then it changed and I stopped being able to share listings. So now you can get permission from the agent. They're technically supposed to get permission from their the broker and the seller. So it's like, it's still a little bit, honestly, it's a little bit confusing to me how that really plays out. Oh my God, actually a hole in my sleeve, I never noticed. So I would say that if you get permission and then you put like, I'll write to people and say, hey, I'll put your name there. I'll put the name, your name plus the brokerage's name. A lot of people still won't share it, won't want you to share it because they're, I don't know, whatever, different discussion. I think that the one way that I don't see how anybody could ever have a problem with is if you literally reposted someone else's, like if they posted something in their feed and you shared it to your stories, like if they clicked on it, they would go to that person's site, but I don't see how that's like public information. So I don't see how that would be a problem. And the click goes back to their site, but even that I've been reluctant with, because I want, at this point, if agents come to me and they're like, everyone's psyched to have something on your site, and if it fits our, what we're trying to promote, and if we can handle more leads, then we do it. Otherwise we don't. Oh, best way to find accounts like Upstate Stock to associate and interact with. So that's a great thing. So one thing I do a lot of is I just like think of like every local business and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they have an Instagram account. And then I just post, and then I kind of like see who's liking and following them. And then I go down that rabbit hole. And then if I see an article about something, I'll follow it. You can also follow hashtags. So for me, I follow hashtag Hudson Valley, hashtag Catskills, hashtag. I can follow a few hashtags so that if people are using those hashtags, this is why I should be using hashtags, by the way. If other people are using those hashtags, then their stuff pops up in my feed and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll follow them. And then there's a page in Instagram, like when you click on the little microscope. So if you guys want to click on that, that's where Instagram is showing you things that it thinks you will like based on your other followers. So, I mean, for me, it's like this page. Mine is like all dogs based on what you click with. That's funny. So I look at that and I like that if something looks cool, I'll just follow it. Like I follow pretty liberally because what do I care? It doesn't cost anything. I have not run any ads through command. I haven't. I'm a terrible person. Does the hashtag have to be in the post or can it be in the comment? It can be in the comments. And like I said, I think that having hashtags in the comments looks less kind of thirsty, for lack of a better term. Is there a content bracket in my feed? Interesting. So I don't have like I said, I don't have any strategy for this, any written strategy. So, you know, and again, like, let's just state for the record that like I did digital marketing for like, and specifically content marketing about places for 20 years before being a real estate agent. So there's a lot of stuff that I just kind of do innately. We are actually going to be launching a new site. Oh, you heard it here first. Hashtag Upstate Curious. It's going to be Upstate Curious, and Upstate Curious is going to be where we can just like let our freak flags fly like 100% with all the local stuff, because I feel like sometimes like I hold myself back on posting a lot of local things because I don't want it to get like too much like this restaurant is like, you know, delivering or whatever. So we're going to have at Upstate Curious, and we're going to have a website called that. And then Upstate Real Estate is going to end up being more tightly focused around real estate, around like, here are listings, here are open houses, here's information about the market. And then Upstate Real Estate will kind of be the home for our team, and Upstate Curious will be like the bigger brand that will also sort of, you know, I'll advertise our Airbnbs there. We'll talk about the area, and that there is a lot of stuff we could do, hopefully too. And to promote local businesses. And that's one other thing that I want to say is that like for us as a team, being a, I won't say productive part of the community, but like a contributing to our communities is really important. That's one of our core values as a team. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is like reposting stuff from restaurants and businesses, you know, and from nonprofits to say like, this is where people need help. This is where like businesses are coming up with creative things. And that's what I found is like the beautiful thing for Instagram, in my opinion, is that it's like all the things I naturally would want to do end up helping me in business here. Right? Like, so like naturally, like I love these businesses. I want them to stay in business. I love the area we live in. I want them to thrive. And like, I want to help the business owners who have gotten to know. So when I support them, it's kind of like making a care call in a different way, but now I have a bigger audience. So it could actually potentially have an impact on their business, which I love. Do you think in general, pretty picture, useful information, draw people to follow you as a source of knowing upstate New York? Yeah, I do. I think that what we hear a lot, and, you know, Monica, you can jump in too, because you talk to a lot of people right after they have the Instagram. And I don't know, Monica, I mean, you were not like mentally prepared to be on this call, but like, if you want to type anything, or if you have any like thoughts to share about how this works, I mean, Monica's a buyer specialist on my team. So she's the one who like, so this is the other thing I guess I should say is that one thing that we thought would be challenging was like saying, okay, people like they know who Megan's dog is, they know who Megan's Airbnb is, and that she renovated these things and moved from Brooklyn and blah, blah, blah. Are they going to be like weird about working with other people? And the answer is like, no. I just say like, I have I have this like amazing team, and I'm going to put you in touch with, now like with Lacey, who that eventually with Monica. And I think that's been really good. And in a perfect world, again, when we're less busy, I would have Monica do more stuff on the Instagram, so she becomes like more of a known quantity. But, you know, Monica, I don't know if you want to talk about that, how you've already been like recognized in the street and stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I only started my work Instagram less than a year ago, and being that, you know, I'm kind of on the younger side of real estate agents, I would say that I am more familiar with Instagram in general. And in that time, I have twice as many followers on my work Instagram than I have from 10 years of having a personal Instagram, which is pretty crazy. And I think the biggest thing, which is something that we've discussed a lot, is that with Instagram, we really noticed that the leads are they convert at a much higher rate because they do like, know, and trust us already. And we've noticed when we tend to have hiccups with clients, they always are clients that didn't come through Instagram. And most of the people, you know, just as a little background, I reached out to Megan. I followed her Instagram before I was officially licensed. And there may be some people in this call, like Rita and Delise, who remember before I even knew Megan, putting her Instagram up on the screen in the office and sharing it with everyone and explaining like, hey, this is someone I follow and this is how I feel like we should be doing things. And I didn't even know her at that point. And just to kind of talk about the way that it can build relationships, that's how I met Megan. I reached out to Megan on Instagram because I admired what she was doing. I was a new agent who had a lot of questions and concerns about getting started. And, you know, I, as I mentioned, admired the way she did things and knew that that was how I wanted to start my business. So I reached out to her through a direct message on Instagram. And ironically, 3 days later, she joined our office at Keller Williams, and that's how we connected. So I think that there's so much to say about Instagram in general, and just being able, like you said, to send somebody a message and it's not weird. It's not creepy, because you can also just reach out to people and be like, hey, I love what you're doing. I love your content. And it's a great way to kind of just build relationships unintentionally in a sense, but also intentionally. So
I love that. And that's true. Like, I wasn't even at Keller Williams at the time. Like, I was literally in the process of changing my brokerage. So Monica really just was this like stranger who wrote to me and was like, hey, you know, I'm a new agent. I think it'd be, you know, I'd love to talk to you about how you do your Instagram. And I was like, that's awesome. I was like, here's somebody who's reaching out, who's like enthusiastic, who's like taking a step. I was like, that's someone I have some time for, you know? And now we've been working together for over a year, or almost a year, I guess. And so I think that's it, is like it is really, really shifting, thinking about it from a publishing platform to a communications platform. I think that if you could do that to yourself, and I guess the other thing I would say that, you know, Monica's also heard me say a million times, that one of the best tips I can give you for writing authentically and in a way that is engaging is to think about, when you're doing each post or each story, just think about one of your friends and just post it for them. And that's it. Don't think about like, oh, the whole world and that person who judges me and this person. And I don't know, what would another broker think about this? Just like literally post it to one friend. I do that same exercise with emails. If I'm doing mass emails, I really force myself to be like, okay, here are like, or if you have like 3 kind of core audiences, be like, okay, let me think of 3 people who represent these audiences, and I'm only writing to them. And that's it. And that is how you end up writing something that feels normal, like, and feels like your voice and not like, I am a robot, you know? So thank you, Monica. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Cause it's, you know, we're still figuring this out. We're definitely still figuring all this out, you know, and that, like I said, the irony is that now it's so big that we literally can't post. So, you know, we're going to get that Coach Anna Gibbs, we're going to get that sorted out. We're going to get a nice big team ready. All right, you guys. So it looks like it's 11:30. Thank you all so much for coming, and we'll put out when the next one is. And, you know, I barely reply to anybody on Instagram or text or phones anymore. So if you like write me and don't hear from me, just know that like I am a little bit overwhelmed and, you know, trying to work through that. We're all learning all the time. And this was really fun to share with everybody. So thanks. And thank you, Corinne, for organizing it and like continuing to like needle me till I did it.
No problem. Thank you so much for sharing. Your generosity and sharing all of this is really greatly appreciated. So definitely. Thank you so much. And we'll advertise the next one, guys. All right.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
bye. Thank you.